Hey guys, welcome back to Paper Highlighter, where we slow-mo the messy parts and zoom in on the receipts. I'm your host, and tonight's lineup is pure 90-day chaos, so buckle up. First up, Jasmine claims she was just the side chick while pregnant with Matt's baby, and the fandom is like, girl, you had an open marriage, a husband, a side dude, and feelings. Who exactly is the side piece here? We're breaking down the timelines, the hypocrisy, and the comments that said her side piece had a side piece. Then, over at the tell-all, Guillermo drops one calm line. If we're going to defend somebody, we're going to fix it. And instantly becomes the only man this franchise trusts. Fans are ready to crown him national treasure and tell Kara, you don't know what you've got. After that, we're zooming in on Brandon's Santa photo with a mystery newborn. Is it their real baby, a preview, or straight AI chaos? The comment section is fighting over due dates, genetics, and bad Photoshop. We'll also hit Libby's sparkly green dress turning into a body-shaming battlefield, Chuck's death ripping the safety net out from under Elizabeth and Andre, the war over whether Loren and Alexei are TLC's golden couple or just the only ones with boundaries, and Shekinah's surgery vlog that has fans asking, self-love or surgery addiction? If you love this kind of deep dive gossip, tap like, smash subscribe, hit that bell so you don't miss the next meltdown, and tell me in the comments whose side you're on tonight. All right, let's get into it. Jasmine, Matt, and the side chick plot twist. Jasmine Pineda is out here crying side chick, and the internet is like, ma'am, weren't you the one running the open relationship? So here's the deal. Jasmine thought she was finally closing the book on Gino and opening a clean, romantic new chapter with Matt, the bald, bearded gym guy we've seen on the show. They hook up, emotions get involved, she winds up pregnant, and in her head, this is turning into commitment, stability, a whole fresh start. But then the plot twist. There's another woman in the picture, a Romanian woman named Elizabeth. According to Jasmine, Matt got her pregnant while he was still dating Elizabeth at the same time. No clear breakup, no I choose you, just messy, overlapping timelines and a whole lot of gray area. On the show, they're outside on that patio, Jasmine in the bright red dress, Matt looking like he wants to evaporate, and she starts pressing him about Elizabeth. At first, he does the classic reality TV guy dance, dodging, mumbling, I don't know if we were technically together, all that fuzzy language. But the more Jasmine pushes, the more he quietly admits he was seeing Elizabeth. And yes, the timelines line up in a way that makes everyone at home go, oh, so you were double dipping. From Jasmine's point of view, that makes her the side chick. She's pregnant, she thinks this is serious, then finds out she was never the only one. She's crying, talking about betrayal, framing it like Matt did her dirty while she was carrying his baby. And then the comment section clocks in like, let's rewind, sweetheart. Because viewers haven't forgotten, Jasmine was still legally married to Gino through all of this. She's the one who pushed for an open marriage when he wasn't intimate with her. She'd already admitted she'd been with Dane. She was still telling Gino she loved him while hooking up with Matt, and she herself described Matt as casual at first, not some exclusive boyfriend. So fans are asking the obvious question, how do you get to claim side chick when he was technically the side dude? The comments are brutal and honestly kind of hilarious. One person wrote, you can't call Jasmine Matt's side chick because they weren't exclusive. He was seeing other people just like she was. Another, her side piece had a side piece. Why is she mad? Someone else flat out said, this was an open relationship. Jasmine was just the sidekick. Matt could date whoever he wanted. Then there's the hypocrisy callouts. Pot meet kettle. Cheater got cheated, how ironic. People are pointing out that she entered this whole situation under open marriage terms, basically for sex and attention, not some promise of forever. One fan said, I don't agree with people sleeping around, but he was her third party. She was still married and saying she loved Gino, so she can't complain that much. Now, even some of the Matt defenders admit he's not a saint. They say, open relationship or not, he should have been straight with her about seeing Elizabeth at the same time, especially once pregnancy entered the chat. If you're sleeping with a married woman who's clearly emotionally messy, communication should not be this hard. But the big fandom debate is this. Can you really cry, "I was the side chick," when you're the one juggling a husband, a past fling, and a new guy all at once? Is Matt truly the villain for not declaring exclusivity? Or is this just the natural disaster that happens when everyone treats commitment like a suggestion instead of a promise? Either way, the internet verdict so far is pretty clear. Jasmine might feel like the side chick, but a lot of viewers think this time she's getting a taste of her own open relationship medicine. So I want to know what you think. Is Jasmine a victim of Matt's double dipping? Or is this karma coming back around for the queen of "I want my cake and eat it too"? Drop your verdict in the comments. Stick around, because if you thought this was messy, wait until you see how one quiet sentence turned Guillermo into 90 Days' new national treasure and put Cara under a very harsh spotlight. Guillermo said one sentence at the tell-all, and the internet basically went, "We have found our new emotional support husband." Here's why everyone is suddenly obsessed. While the rest of the cast is screaming over each other, defending bad behavior with more bad behavior, Guillermo waits, listens, and then drops this one calm line. "No, if we're going to defend somebody, we're going to fix it." That's it. No yelling, no trash talk, just pure logic and heart. And fans lost it. So let's break down how the quietest guy in the room became the star of the entire reunion. In the middle of the tell-all chaos, everybody's doing what they always do, shouting over each other, trying to one-up the drama, dragging someone else to make their favorite look better. It's loud, it's messy, it's peak 90-day energy. And then you see Guillermo, the youngest one there, just sitting back, watching, clearly thinking instead of jumping in for clout. When he finally leans forward, he doesn't raise his voice. He doesn't insult anyone. He just calmly calls out what's happening. They're not actually defending anyone. They're just attacking somebody else to feel better. If we're going to defend somebody, we're going to fix it. Translation, redirect your energy from tearing people down to actually solving the problem. Fans at home, standing ovation. The comments are unreal. You've got people calling him the only decent human on this entire show, wise beyond his years, and the full package: smart, articulate, handsome, calm, cool, and collected. One commenter said he only speaks when he has something meaningful to say, and this moment proved it. And then the praise snowballs into a whole personality profile. Viewers are calling him a great dad, a true gentleman, humble, elegant, well-mannered. Someone literally wrote, "He's a 1 in a million kind of man." Another joked, "We need the Guillermo show because he's the only one who talks sense." A bunch of people even said he'd make a great therapist. That's how clear and grounded his little mini speech was. But hidden inside that praise, a not-so-subtle drag aimed at Cara. Comment after comment says the same thing. He deserves better. Fans say Cara seems more focused on partying and her own spotlight than on her marriage and family. They bring up her staying out until 4 a.m. with another guy, the constant tension, and the way she sometimes talks over him. One viewer flat out said his wife doesn't deserve him, while another warned she's going to regret losing him if she doesn't wake up. People are genuinely worried he's wasting his time trying to fix a relationship where he isn't fully respected. They see him as family-oriented, grounded, devoted to his son and stability, and her is still halfway in party girl mode. The contrast is starting to feel harsh. And of course, fans compare him to the rest of the cast. In a sea of loud, petty, and messy personalities, he comes across as more emotionally intelligent, more patient, and way more respectful. One fan summed it up brutally: smartest and kindest on the whole show. He doesn't belong in this deranged circus. So now the big question floating around is this: is Guillermo holding this marriage together? And is Cara going to realize what she has before it's too late? Or are we watching the early stages of a he glowed up and moved on story in real time? Let me know in the comments, are you team they can fix it or team set Guillermo free and give him his own spin-off? Keep it locked, because if you thought that tell-all moment broke the internet, wait until you see what happened when Brandon dressed up as Santa and posed with a mystery Christmas baby. Brandon dresses up as Santa for a cute Christmas photo and somehow ends up in a full-blown paternity, timeline, and AI investigation, only in the 90-day universe. So, here's what happened. You're scrolling, half awake, when suddenly you see Brandon in a red Santa suit, big smile, holding a tiny bundled newborn in a red knit onesie. The caption is all, "Congratulations, future parents, so happy for your baby." And your brain goes, "Hold up, I thought Julia was still pregnant." That one cozy picture turns into a crying scene for the fandom. Is this the baby, a preview, or just AI chaos? The photo itself is adorable. Brandon as Slim Santa on a rustic porch, cradling a tiny Christmas baby. The surrounding text and comments sound like a celebration. "So happy for your pregnancy. You'll be amazing parents. You're present from heaven." At first glance, it looks like a sweet holiday moment for a couple we've watched fight through farm drama, controlling parents, and bedroom rules. But then the comments start dividing into two camps. Camp 1: this is their real baby, oh my gosh. These fans are in full auntie mode. They're commenting, "He looks just like Julia, mini Julia. I see Betty in that face." They're already picking baby names like Julio if it's a boy, sending blessings, and talking about how happy Brandon looks. One person literally calls him a bundle of absolute cuteness, and another says, "You're gonna be the bestest dad, Brandon." Camp 2: this is obviously AI, wake up. These are your pixel police. They're zooming in on hands, shadows, and edges. One comment says, "AI, look at his hand under the baby. I can tell there." Another, "This is AI. I guess people really can't tell the difference." Someone even claims it's not Brandon at all, just his wedding ring edited onto a different guy. AI photo pops up over and over, while others are too busy melting over Santa Brandon to care. And that's what makes this one picture so wild. It's not just about whether a baby is real or AI. It's about what fans are projecting onto Brandon and Julia. Hope, suspicion, snark, joy, confusion, all piled onto one Christmas porch photo. So tell me in the comments, are you team real baby, team AI fever dream, or team doesn't matter, just let Brandon and Julia have a peaceful Christmas already? And just when you think the fans couldn't get any harsher, wait until you see what happens when they stop zooming in on pixels and start zooming in on Elizabeth Potthast's body. Libby Potthast showed up to the tell-all in a sparkly green dress, and somehow her arm fat became the main character of Facebook. Here's the quick rundown. One fan page grabbed a pause frame of Elizabeth in that lime green beaded dress, slapped on a nasty caption dragging her body, her marriage, and her looks, and then tried to wrap it all in a "no one deserves to be abused" disclaimer. The fandom did not let that slide. So let's unpack this mess. It starts with a zoomed-in still, Libby looking down mid-conversation, arm pressed against her side, not exactly her most flattering angle. The caption comes in pretending to be concerned, then calls her just as nasty as her husband, says she and Andre can't be trusted, claims she's aged 20 years since meeting him, and basically treats the little curve under her arm like it's a crime scene. Then, cherry on top, they add something like, "No one deserves to be abused," as if body shaming doesn't count. The comments ignite instantly. Top of the thread, someone quotes that "no one deserves to be abused" line and fires back, "Yet body shaming is allowed in this context, I guess." Hundreds of likes. Another viewer adds, "I can't stand her either, and I can't tolerate her husband, but stick to the storyline, not her body." That becomes the theme. If you want to drag Libby's attitude, fine, but why are we dissecting screenshots of her arm? Of course, this is Facebook, so some people go full mean girl anyway. You've got folks mocking the dress being too tight, comparing her to cartoon villains, and insisting that if you wear clothes that are too small, people are gonna comment. It's that classic, "I don't body shame, but" energy. Then the defenders come in swinging. One commenter points out that Libby is one of the only women on that stage who hasn't obviously gone heavy on fillers or surgery, and says there's nothing wrong with a natural woman. Another writes, "So what if she has a little fat? Women are beautiful in all shapes and sizes." Someone else reminds everyone, "We don't judge people by their fashion choices, we judge how they treat others." But the conversation doesn't stay superficial. It quickly turns to her life. A lot of commenters pivot to Andre, calling him controlling, isolating, verbally abusive. They bring up years of him yelling at her siblings, calling women names, demanding apologies while never owning his own mess. Some say Libby has become a female Andre. Others argue that what we're seeing is a woman stuck in a toxic dynamic, lashing out because that's how she's learned to survive. Chuck's death gets pulled into it too. Fans say he was her buffer, her safe place, the one person who loved her unconditionally. Without him, they worry she's emotionally eating, depressed, and more trapped with Andre than ever. One commenter says eating is comfort for some, hinting that the weight gain is less about laziness and more about grief. And then the hypocrisy alarm keeps ringing. People are pointing out how viewers scream about abused and toxic men, but then gleefully pile on a woman's body, age, and looks over a bad angle screenshot. Others warn that this is exactly the kind of pressure that pushes women toward endless surgery, Ozempic, and filters, the same things they're also mocked for. So now the thread is split into camps. People who still can't stand Libby and Andre but say body shaming is crossing the line. People who think mocking her appearance is fair game because she's mean. What do you think? Is it ever fair to drag a reality star's body, or should we be keeping the critique on behavior only no matter how messy they are on screen? Don't touch that dial, because if you thought the Libby discourse was dark, wait until we dig into what happens to Elizabeth and Andre now that Chuck, the family peacemaker, is gone. When the family peacemaker dies, do the most toxic couple finally implode or just get scarier? That's the question 90 Day fans are screaming right now. So here's the setup. Chuck Podhast has passed away, and with him goes the one person who truly adored Elizabeth and could somewhat manage Andre. A long, emotional Facebook post from a viewer kicked off a massive debate. Is Libby a trapped, abused daughter who just lost her protector? Or has she turned into female Andre and chosen chaos over everyone else? Let's break it down. The original poster starts from a place of concern. They say they're genuinely worried about Libby now that Chuck is gone. In their eyes, Chuck wasn't just her dad. He was her emotional buffer, her safe place, the guy trying to keep the family peace while Andre blew everything up. Without Chuck, they fear Elizabeth is alone with the hot-headed husband and a family that's either exhausted or estranged. Then they pivot to Lauren. The OP straight up admits they're not a big Lauren fan, even though they like Alex. They felt Lauren showed up to that tell-all more interested in making noise than protecting her friend. Instead of calming things down, she brings in Noga, someone Libby barely knows, and stands by while the whole segment piles more pressure onto Elizabeth. The OP insists they saw Libby edging toward a panic attack while everyone around her kept poking. To them, that's not friendship, that's pouring gasoline on a fire. Their big thesis? A real friend doesn't drag in extra people and stir drama when they know you're already hanging on by a thread. They say Lauren gives mean girl trying to have a voice on camera energy, while Elizabeth's lashing out feels more like self-protection than villainy. The post ends soft. In the end, only the people who truly care about you matter. And then the comments absolutely flip the script. Hundreds of fans jump in to say, nope, Libby is the mean girl. They call her vindictive, backstabbing, and now a female Andre. People remind everyone that Andre took that $75,000 loan from Chuck, weaponized it against her siblings, and used the fallout to wedge Libby away from her family. They list years of him screaming, calling women dogs, demanding apologies, and never taking accountability, and say Elizabeth enables it by never checking him and always attacking whoever reacts. At the same time, Lauren gets both dragged and defended. Some commenters totally agree with the OP. Lauren is an instigator, inserts herself into everything, needs validation, and keeps poking at Elizabeth and Andre because it keeps cameras pointed at her. Bringing Noga into that meltdown? Pure gasoline. But another loud camp fires back. How would you feel if your friend's husband talked to you like Andre talks to women? They say Lauren has every right to set boundaries, back up Noga, and refuse to be disrespected. In that version of events, Lauren isn't a mean girl. She's the only one with the spine willing to push back on Andre's behavior. Under it all is a deep grief for Chuck. Fans call him her anchor, her biggest supporter, and the only person Andre half respected. With him gone, people are terrified Andre will either drag Libby to Moldova away from her family or hang around just long enough to taste inheritance money. Nothing is confirmed, but the fear is real. Libby isolated with a controlling husband in a family that finally backs away for good. Some viewers see Elizabeth as a spoiled bully who picked her man and now has to live with it. Others look at her panic attacks, defensiveness, and loyalty to Andre and see someone caught in a cycle of emotional abuse who may not even recognize how deep she's in. So where are you on this? Is Elizabeth the grieving daughter trapped with the wrong man, or a grown woman who chose Team Andre and slammed the door on everyone else? Drop your take below. Stick around, because if you think the fandom is divided over Libby and Andre now, wait till we talk about why Lauren and Alexi keep slipping out the back door while everyone else is still filming. Why do Lauren and Alexi always get to dip out early? Are they TLC's golden couple, or just the only people there with functioning boundaries? Yeah, that one spicy Facebook post lit the fandom on fire. So here's the quick setup. This isn't about Lauren storming off mid-argument or refusing to film. They did the tell-all. They showed up, sat on the couches, answered the questions, gave producers what they needed. The drama is about what happens after cameras wrap. The big house, the late-night drinks, the bonus chaos. When everyone else is hanging around for extra footage, Lauren and Alexi are rolling their suitcases out early, and fans are split between good for them and special treatment much. Let's break it down. The original post is salty right out of the gate. The writer asks why Lauren and Alexi always seem to get the early exit, and specifically says, "Don't tell me it's because they have kids, stress, anxiety, or flights, because everyone else does too." To them, it looks like TLC is bending over backwards to accommodate the golden couple, while everyone else is expected to stay, mingle, and keep the drama flowing. But the comment section comes in with receipts and nuance. First, a lot of fans point out a key detail. This is not them breaking contract. Lauren and Alexi stayed through the actual tell-all taping. The early exit is from the big house afterward, the part where everyone sits around, eating, drinking, rehashing fights, and giving production bonus content. One top comment basically says they're not in jail. They fulfilled their obligation. They can leave whenever they want. Another reminds everyone that everyone was leaving that night anyway. Somebody had to be first. Then the conversation shifts hard to Lauren's health. Fans remind the thread that Lauren has Tourette syndrome and has been very open about how stress and anxiety make her tics worse. A few viewers mention medications, side effects, and the toll that high conflict environments can take on someone's nervous system. For them, this isn't special treatment, it's a basic accommodation. Keeping her in a loud house full of alcohol and arguments after a brutal filming day? That's not good TV, that's cruel. Parents in the comments are loud and clear. 3 kids under 5, 4 days away, and a husband with a real-world job? Of course they're trying to get home ASAP. One comment nails it. They showed up, worked, and went back to their actual lives. The show doesn't own them. But not everyone buys the halo. There's a smaller but very vocal group saying, hold on. They point out that Lauren often keeps her deepest family drama, especially anything involving her parents, off camera, while other couples spill everything. To those viewers, it feels like she and Alexei get to play relatable, stressed parents while being shielded from the harsher storylines. Add the early exits, and it starts to look like a pattern, the protected couple that gets to tap out when things get too uncomfortable. Then comes the third angle. Maybe they're not special. Maybe they're just smart. A lot of commenters admit that if they were in that house with Andre yelling, people drinking, and producers fishing for one last fight, they'd also grab their bags and go. One fan joked that Lauren and Alexei are the least crazy ones there, which is exactly why they don't feel the need to stay for the bonus chaos. And low-key, TLC probably isn't mad about it. Lauren and Alexei are one of the few long-term couples still together, still likable, still marketable. If the choice is between pushing Lauren past her limits or letting them head to the airport early after filming is done, of course they're going to choose the route that preserves their success story couple. So what do you think? Pampered golden couple getting sweetheart treatment, or just 2 exhausted parents with boundaries and a return flight? Sound off below. And just when you think the bodies and boundaries conversation can't get any messier, stick around, because the next 90-day star literally turned her breast augmentation and lipo into a glam surgery diary, and the fandom is screaming Darcy and Stacy 3.0. Shekinah didn't just get surgery. She basically dropped a full-on boob and belly documentary on Facebook, and the comments are screaming Darcy and Stacy prequel. Here's the deal. She posts a little glimpse into her breast augmentation and lipo and turns it into a glam surgery diary. For a woman who's dating Mr. You must stay under 128 pounds and once claimed she was done with procedures, this hit a nerve with 90-day fans fast. In the carousel, Shekinah gives us everything. First, the hot girl recovery pics. Tight black sports bra, leggings, styled hair, mirror selfies with texts like, my breast augmentation and lipo diary. It looks more like a fitness influencer reel than post-aug reality. Then we see her back in the exam room, smiling, while she announces she went in to get her stitches out yesterday after week 1, like it's a brand collab, not actual stitches coming out of her body. Then she rewinds. There's Shekinah on the hospital bed in a surgical cap, full lashes, full contour, snapping a before selfie with the line, I always take a selfie before I go into surgery. Cut to the aftermath. Groggy recovery shots, wires, blankets, captioned, this is how I woke up from surgery after stomach lipo and breast augmentation. Later, she's at home, makeup off, cuddled up with her dog Adonis, talking about how he never leaves her side while she heals. It's vulnerable, but still very curated, like soft girl recovery meets medical drama. On its own, it's classic influencer content. But this is 90 Day, and viewers did not hold back. The first wave of comments is pure side-eye. A little obsessed, aren't we? Lipo for a skinny girl. What are you even suctioning? Then the Darcy and Stacy comparisons flood in. People are calling her the newest Silva sister, another Barbie project, and saying she's in open competition with the twins to see who can look the most surgically snatched. One commenter jokes, she's about to look like the twins. Another just writes, welcome to the Darcy and Stacy Club. A lot of fans are over it. These women never stop having surgery. When is enough enough? No more glimpses. We've had 4 lifetimes already. Others shift from snark to concern. Some question any doctor willing to do lipo on a body that already looked slim, saying, why not spend that money on therapy instead? Others connect it directly to Sarper, wondering if this is about her own confidence or about meeting his harsh weight rules and the pressure of being on camera with a hypercritical partner. Still, there are softer voices in the mix. A few fans tell her she looks beautiful and that it's her body, her choice. One comment reads, you were already gorgeous. You don't need all this, which lands somewhere between compliments and quiet plea to stop chasing perfection.